Alrighty. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Urban ENT Alumni Podcast. We are on episode 8. My name is Drew.
My name is Dolo Deuce Duke.
That's Dolo. He's out there representing the West Side.
Yeah, we Urban Entertainment West out here.
Urban ENT West. There we go. And I guess we'll call this Midwest.
I mean, shit, y'all the main headquarters there, you know.
Yep, main headquarters. Shout out to St. Cloud. We're still the main headquarters.
Yeah, hold on, my bad.
There you go. Yeah, hit your mute if it gets loud or whatever. Anyways, Akin is busy. He's got some appointments or whatever. So if he jumps on later, that's cool. Otherwise, we've got new topics for the new year. And we are hoping to bring some more consistent content in the coming weeks. So with that, I guess, did Akin? Nope, that wasn't him. False alarm. I guess we can jump right into it. Ant, let's start with your topic.
I'm always interested to start off, man. I think. Can you guess what my? We got a key.
Oh, good timing. Good timing.
Hey, good timing.
What's up?
Hey, what's up?
Hey,
man?
I was just gonna get into my topic, bro.
That was like perfect timing.
First of all, how you doing, man? I miss you, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you? I'm lit for your mixtape.
Thanks, man. It's not a mixtape. It's a project.
It's a project. Okay, I'm lit for your project.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's coming out real soon, so look out for that. We're gonna put plenty of links to that in our description when it drops.
Oh yeah. And like I said, you and Drew are gonna be my focus group, man. I'm gonna leak y'all some shit and see what y'all think about it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'll check it out.
Cool. But no, my topic. If you know me, you can guess the topic, man. To be honest, my topic is gonna be a bridging the gap sort of topic. So you know that Lazy Bone has been going crazy at the Migos recently, right?
Yeah.
Have you guys been looking at that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of want to talk about like why it is that Lazy Bone specifically feels like entitled to just getting respect from the Migos, and whether or not the Migos are actually disrespecting him. And then I don't know if you guys saw the whole video of Busy Bone with the damn musket in his garage, almost getting like I think he got arrested or something like that. But it just seemed to be getting out of hand. So I kind of wanted to talk about the respect level in hip hop. You know, should the younger generation pay homage to the new generation?
That's a really good topic. Akin, you go first, so we don't cut each other off. But yeah, that's a really good topic.
Okay, so I feel like there's two sides to this, and so in hip hop. I feel like hip hop is the only genre where this happens. Okay, so they're the OGs who feel like they deserve respect just because they're OGs, not because they've done anything that specifically stands out or that's specifically remarkable. Just because some of these people, they feel entitled just because they dropped an album in the 90s. That's like the only thing that they have. Just because they dropped an album in the 90s, they feel so entitled that I should get respect from you. It's like, to these people, it's like you can never say anyone from this generation is better, than some rapper in the 90s. Like, they feel like if you say Kendrick is better than Big, then, oh my God, it's the end of the world. You can never say that. Even though I feel like some of these young cats are, like surpassing what some of these people did in the 90s. But just because of, the proverbial 90s, like, you can't say anything bad about them because they ran in the 90s. And I also feel like, on the other side, they feel like it's okay to disrespect some OGs. Case in sample, this dude that plays for the Lakers, Lonzo Ball, right? Lonzo, he was saying some shit about Nas. He said some shit about Nas in 2017. This was like, nobody listens to that shit, whatever. And I feel like that's only in hip hop is that cool. Like, you never hear any of this like rock people talk shit about the Beatles, they'll be like, nobody listens to the Beatles anymore. Like, it's only in hip hop where like these young cats are allowed to disrespect the OGs. And then if like you're OG, if you say something, people look at you like you're Joe Budden, like, oh, you're just a like angry old dude. Like, that's what you are. Like, you don't know what's hip, you don't know what's trending, whatever. So I feel like there's the those are like the two sides. The Migos, in my opinion, I don't know. I feel like if we look at the trend they've been on since like 2016, they've definitely surpassed like Bone Thugs, in my opinion. Because like besides not necessarily in how good their songs are, but in the sense of popularity. Because like these guys are, everyone knows them. It's people that know Bone Thugs, or they just know, Wake Up is the first of the month, or they just know like that song. They, that's it. That's all they know about Bone Thugs. They can't name any of the members. They can't name anything. Which is not their fault. It doesn't speak to how good or how about the songs are. But you look at Migos, everyone knows, all three of them. Everyone knows them, and everyone knows, a lot of their songs. So I feel like in that sense, they've surpassed Bone Thugs and Harmony. And then another thing for okay, so Bone Thugs, a lot of people will give them a claim for starting, this like fast rap, whatever, because they're one of the people to make it popular and cool to fast rap the way they used to. And Migos, a lot of people give them props for the triplet flow. Is that what it's called? Like the flow they be doing. I think that's what it's called, right?
Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called, Anthony?
Yeah. I think that's what it's called. It's
Yeah. So people give them a claim for that. So I feel like both groups, they have something that they both do. Well, I personally will listen to Bone Thugs before I listen to two songs from the Migos. That's just me. But in terms of like what they've done for hip hop, if we were to like put it together, I feel like Migos have kind of surpassed them because, as a cultural staple alone, everyone's been talking about Migos like every day since like 2016. Bone Thugs were not that hot.
Yeah, and I'll jump in here too because I totally agree with what you're saying, Akeem. I think there's two sides to this, and in my opinion, actually, I think it's simultaneously it's good to respect the OGs from the '90s and the golden era and all that, but I also think it's at the same time it's good to go at them because you see it benefit some artists. You see the younger artists go at the established artists, and that helps their career sometimes. It might cause beef, like in the case of 50 Cent going at Ja Rule or something like that, right? But and that's just one example. That's easy to go back to, but we see that all the time. Like the younger artist goes at the established artist to gain attention, to gain popularity, and especially in this day and age where everyone's trying to clout chase and whatever, and it's all about social media and it's all about who's got the most Instagram followers. That's what the artists care about now. They literally buy those. They buy followers and everything. Whereas like it's also, but I'm not going to say that's everyone in this new generation because you got the Lil Yachty that says I can't name 5 Biggie songs and la la la, but you can't say like Kendrick doesn't respect and pay homage to like Tupac and stuff like that, or Ice Cube, and he like inducted them into or NWA, he like interviewed them and stuff, and I think he was there when they got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And like there are new artists that do pay their homage and do pay their respect to the pioneers, but like I really don't have a problem. Remember, we had a discussion a couple of weeks back about the rules of rap beef because of the LeBron and Drake conversation on The Shop, and we kind of were in agreement that as long as it's on wax, there's not really rules. But I think it's kind of the same thing like about paying respect. It's like you don't have to. Like it's nice if you do, but like you're not like breaking any rules, I don't think, by not doing it. And also Lazy Bone, I think he might just be doing it to garner attention because when's the last time anyone's ever been checking for him in like 15 years? Like be real, like he's a legend, but like it keeps him relevant to pop up on trending Twitter feeds and stuff like that.
Yeah. And also another point to that is like if you don't know, like some people they won't, they don't go as far back as some others when it comes to like the music. Some people just know how to rap and then they just start rapping. Like they're not necessarily going to go back to listen to every fucking hip hop album that came out. So if you don't get like, I low key think like we're 18 years into like into the 2000s now, into the millennium, like if you start listening to rap in the year 2000, like you're fine. You don't have to go back to like the 90s for people to like respect you, like Lil Yachty and them. A lot of them probably just started listening to rap when like Get Rich or Die Trying came out. Like, so if they don't if they don't know stuff from the 90s, it's okay because it doesn't apply to them because they only know what came out when when they started growing up. So that's cool. And also that doesn't give like the young cats like an excuse to to just like diss the people that more or less paved the way for a lot of these like young rappers. So it's on both sides.
This
What do
is
you?
how I feel. So when it comes to that, it sounds like you pretty much are saying that the young people should pay more respect to the older people necessarily, or what do you?
I
I
don't, I
mean,
don't I don't necessarily think that. I think that I like when young artists go after the established artists. They don't have to pay respect. I think it's nice if they do, but they don't have to.
I think, to be honest now, because I'm more of a Bone Thugs and Harmony fan. They're disciples of Easy E, and you know, those are the people that I like. But to be honest with you, I'm on the fence. I think the Migos are not necessarily in the wrong for what they did. And when it comes to the whole situation of paying respect, I feel like there has to be a respect given for them to pay respect. For instance, I don't think nobody has ever come at Snoop Dogg, even though Snoop Dogg can actively go against a new generation. Like he didn't spoke his opinions about Future and about the Migos, but nobody necessarily disrespects his legend status. And I think that's mainly because it might be mainly because he's still so relevant, but I think it's also a lot to do with the fact that you know even in his criticism for it, he admits that he's past his prime. Times have changed. I feel like he gives credit where credit is due, and I think that's one thing that Lazy Bone is really like he's missing the point of.
Yeah, I could see that, and I think yeah, Snoop Dogg was a good example to bring up, and another one was Ice Cube recently did a video I think with Genius, the website that does the lyrics, and they had him listen to like the new West Coast artists, and
I saw that. I saw
yeah,
that.
he gave it a fair like assessment. Like he didn't just say like, ah, they're all trash. Like even if they were different, he like was. I think he's really smart, and he's a guy that can see that like hip hop has evolved. Some guys just can't get past that. Like maybe they're more purists. Like Lord Jamar, when you see him on like Vlad TV, he's like, oh, I hate all new music, blah 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 blah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
A point to what you said, Drew. Like those people are like the ones that people see as stuck in the 90s, like angry old heads that just won't let the music evolve. Like I think those are the people we need to stay away from. Like people that call themselves a purist, even though it doesn't make sense. Like you can't listen to hip hop and then be a purist because if you were a purist, then that means you only like when rappers that like rap, and nobody wants to listen to that shit. Not me anyway. But
And also too, go ahead.
and and like even if you don't like their music, like the new music, the way hip hop sounds, like if you don't like it, you don't have to, but you don't necessarily have to shit on it. At the same time, like you can just give them props because when you were doing your own thing, not everyone liked it. So that's basically how it is. Just because like they're young and they're having fun, it doesn't mean they don't have feelings or they don't care about the craft. So
here's a question. Here's a question that I have for you guys too, related to this. It's like, how come I feel like there's such a, because Anthony mentioned like it being a kind of a gap or a divide between generations, but why is there such a gap between fans and even artists that listen to music? Like why are they so on one side or the other? Like they like old music or they like why don't more people like both? Because I like both. I like new music and old music.
Well, the thing is, I think a lot of people actually do like both. They don't really know what both is, if that makes any sense. Because see, you'll play an old rap song, and most people will take them to a nostalgic place that they won't even know the name of the song that they're listening to. And you hear a lot of these newer dudes sampling these older songs, and a lot of people when they're casting this disrespect, they don't even know who they're disrespecting and how nostalgic it can make them feel. So I think it just comes from the state of ignorance. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah, that's
If
true.
that makes any sense. Do y'all understand what I'm saying?
yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off what like Anthony said. Like, I feel like a lot of people just don't know it. So like this is like like I said, like if you start listening to rap in like let's say 2000, like the year 2000 specifically, that's already way different from like the shit that came out in 1999. Just
Well,
that,
if you think about it,
yeah,
think
just
about
that.
it like this: like the 18-year-olds of today were born in the year 2000. So
Yeah, exactly. So all they know, like the most popular rap albums from when they've been born is like Get Rich or Die Trying. We got like College Dropout, Kanye, and then when they
Hon-
turn
And
16.
then
So
honestly, like Soldier Boy and all that. That's probably what
exactly. So
I grew up on.
right. So when they turn 16, like so, okay, so people that are 18, when they turn 16, which was like in 2016, 2015, give or take, that's when remember the XSL. That's when Lil Pump, not Lil Pump, but them Lil Yachty, them whatever. So that's who they know. This is them in high school, and at that time in high school, that's when you're trying to like establish like what type of music you listen to, and then you naturally just gravitate towards like what's popular, and that's all they know, which is okay. So that's why a lot of them just won't like get into like the old shit because they don't even know what the fuck it is. So when they hear it for the first time, it's like what's this? Like people like they talk to me like when they want to talk about music, like okay, so we're talking about albums that came out last year. The first thing they ask me, did you listen to Kodak Black? Did you listen to this? And I'm just like, man, I don't like any of this. Ask me some other shit, and then I say something, and they're like, oh, I didn't really listen to that. You listen to that because it's just they're confused, like because they don't know. So that's the gap because like the hip hop took a complete like 180.
It did, and I'm echoing. Why am I echoing? Okay, I think it's better now. But yeah, no, I think it did kind of. I mean, it's evolved very fast since probably 2016. I think it's evolved
Yeah,
very fast since then, and I think a lot of the kids that are listening to the guys on that freshman cover with
yeah,
21 Savage, with the Kodak, with the Lil Uzi. Yeah, they're ignorant. And but when was like when what age were you guys when you first started listening to rap? Because I was like 7 or 8, and I was born in like the mid 90s, right? So this would have been early 2000s. The first artists that I remember were 50 Cent, Cameron, Kanye West, and Lil Wayne. Those were like
yeah,
it was hot at the
yeah.
time.
See,
So
yeah,
so like if you were 8 years old in 2007, 8, 9, it was Soldier Boy, Lil B. It was so
yeah.
I don't know. I think that's where the gap maybe comes from. But yeah, there's definitely ignorance, and especially since we're like naturally we like older music because we went back and listened to it. Not everyone did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, see, and to add to your point, like that's what I was trying to say about people that turn like 16, people that are 18, like when they were 8, which is like in 2010, whatever the line. That's why a lot of people really love Kanye because like in 2010, that's when My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy came out. That's like the album to listen to. That's why a lot of these like younger whatever they like Kanye. But like when we were like when I was at I Get Rich or Die Trying, that was like my first CD. Like 50 Cent was like the greatest rapper to me at the time. Like because that was the album to listen to, and then you delve into you listen to some other artists and you do the work. But the thing is, like a lot of casuals, they don't. They're just like once this rapper is on the billboard, they listen to like that one song. And that's another thing too. Like the way we consume music now is way different. People don't sit down and listen to albums. They just listen to like 2 or 3 songs and then move on to the next. And it's because like it's so accessible these days. You got your Spotify, you got your Apple Music, you got your YouTube. So people don't really sit down and like digest music. So they don't even really know who the fuck they're listening to, even when they're listening to it. So it's the whole thing is just like changed. Like I feel like there'll never be a connection unless you're a hip hop head or unless you're like smart enough to know that it's different. So that's all.
yeah, also too, it makes sense. Pretty much everything you guys said. Um, the first time I can remember consuming hip hop, shit, I don't know, cause I like my family. It was always playing around me. The first rapper I can remember liking was Ludacris,
Back for
and
the first time.
yeah, yeah. So like that was the first rapper I remember liking, like for myself. And then it expanded from there. My love for hip hop. Around like the 6th grade, I've discovered like Easy E and all of that stuff. Me and my homeboys was off of that. And then when I got into high school is when I got around Gucci Mane. So then you kind of see like each of those people I mentioned are in my
Yeah,
top five, you know.
yeah,
So the where you grew up and where you listen to a lot of your stuff really does influence the kind of stuff that you listen to. But yeah,
yeah,
like what you guys say, I really kind of really understand why there's such a gap necessarily. I just know that there is, and I try not to contribute to it too much because I like new music as well, you know. So
mhm,
I like the Migos, but I grew up on Bone Thugs, so
I like that, and that's kind of how you guys know I feel too, because you know that I grew up heavy on Lil Wayne, but you know that I'm smart enough to know, he's not as hot right now, but I still have that nostalgia for him. That's why he makes my top 10 or whatever. And then as far as keeping an open mind for the new music, I'm checking for the new Kodak Black album. I'm checking for the new 21 Savage album. Of course I am, because I want to stay current and I want to keep that open mind.
by the way, that 21 Savage, you know, that first song, A Lot, featuring J. Cole, I love that song, but that's beside the point.
That song is really good.
this the I Am I Was album.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the
Yeah,
Yeah,
one.
you
that.
know what? Let's segue into my topic real quick because I gotta go soon,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah, go for it.
I want to talk
No
about
doubt.
21. I want to talk about 21 Savage actually. Now that you mentioned it, so it's a nice segue. Okay, so when 21 Savage first came out, I think when he was first on the album covers on the XSL, was he on the list? Was he on the freshman list? I
Yeah,
don't know. Whenever,
2016 he was.
yeah,
Yeah,
whenever he came out, he had like all this attention on him for like bad things. Even though even if it wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but the image it portrays just kind of brings that attention towards him. So I think pretty much all of this year and for some time of last year, like after he dropped his album, he was nowhere. And I think after he broke up with the
Amber Rose.
yeah, the Gentile girl from Rush Hour. Um, after, after he ended that with her, he was just like nowhere to be found. And then he came up with this album. And one thing that I can say that I like about this album, so even if I don't necessarily like the music, I'll give the album like a 6 out of 10. It's mid. But you compare it to his last album and you can hear his progression and maturity, and I respect that more than anything. And I feel like a lot of rappers should be like that. Like we should hear progression in your music.
you know what else
I,
too is
I
oh, go ahead, Anthony. You go ahead.
I was just gonna say I agree, like because I was just thinking that the other day, like 21 Savage actually has progressed a lot. So like even not to tie it back into the previous topic, but when 21 Savage responded to Busy Bone and Lazy Bone, other than the fact that he was dissing them for showing their guns and doing whatever, he had a really respectable way of responding. Because he could have did the exact same thing, but instead he was just like, "That's some whack shit. That shit was weak." He did talk about
Oh no, I think we
What
lost
happened?
Anthony. I think we lost Anthony. Hold on, let me call him back.
All right.
Mid sentence, he just drops off.
All right.
Yeah,
I
but
have to.
I can
I
kind of
have to.
answer while we get him back. Oh wait, are you heading out?
I soon, not now, but soon I have to.
Okay. Well,
But
what I kind of think about 21 is like, oh, here he comes back. Did you did you hang up?
I think I did. I think I got excited. But no, basically, I was saying, like, I agree with you. I've been seeing the growth as well. So.
Yeah,
yeah,
I was just gonna say too. Yeah, I think I've seen him like progress as a person a lot. Like when he first came out, he was talking about jewelry and blowing money and stuff, and now he's talking about like, yo, I'm telling young rappers to save their money and like invest in property and things like that. Like I think
yeah,
he's really just learned a lot.
yeah. And he also has J. Cole in the future. I mean, come on, like. But also another point about 21 Savage is I think I'm getting my dates all messed up. I'm getting old, man. I think it's 2017. There was maybe 16. Okay, in 16 there was this like wave of drug dealer raps, slash drug user rap. Some sentiment like that. And 21 Savage, I made he had made a response that was saying there's no difference between the two. both type of music is glorifying drugs either way, even if it's just drug dealer, even if you're dealing, if you're promoting like drug dealing or promoting drug using, like there's no difference. And I feel like that's one thing that, like, the this is to go back to what Anthony was talking about, what the old heads used to talk about, like, oh, back in my day we used to deal drugs, not use them. You rappers these days, you're drug addicts or whatever, and like, all I'm saying is both music still glorify the use of drugs. So one side shouldn't act like they're better than the other. I mean, they were more lyrical with it in the 90s. They were creative with it, but nonetheless, still glorifying drugs. So that's one thing that 21 Savage said that I feel like had a good point for the young people these days, like.
And you know what I kind of see as like a trend right now?
So,
I think progression is becoming popular in a way. You know what I'm saying? Because I agree with you. 21 is progressing, and we see the progression of Meek Mill. Who else really? That might kind of be it. But like those two alone, to see them progress, I think is a wonderful thing because they're real influential, especially
yeah,
in the drug dealers. They
yeah.
they are very popular. They're able to influence the entire and then not sound corny doing it. So like.
Yeah. Also, to mention the point of progression, there was this clip of Kodak Black I saw, some football. Like I think it was in a football locker room. I don't know, but he was saying he wanted to, go to college and get, a degree or something, and everyone was laughing at him. But I thought he was being serious because the way he said it didn't sound like he was joking. He sounded like it was being for it. But everyone that was with him in the locker room, they all were laughing. So that's one thing I thought was interesting that Kodak would say.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that was gonna be kind of the third one that Anthony mentioned, Meek, and who was the other one? 21. Yeah.
Yeah, 21.
Yeah, no, Kodak. I think he has progressed because when he first came out. I was kind of as a fan, I was kind of angry at him because I'm like, man, here goes another talented young guy that's throwing it all away because he could not stay out of jail. But now. And another one. Speaking of that, was Gucci Mane. Because he kind of was in and out of jail a lot recently, and now look, he's like completely transformed.
To be honest, I feel like he was the first one to really like. Everybody saw his transformation. Is like, damn, if Gucci Mane could do better, I could do better too. But you know what I'm saying? I might just be, being.
Shout out to Gucci. Shout out to
Gucci. Gucci kind of he literally changed around and transformed his whole image and kind of has a second career rebirth right now. And like Kodak is very young in his career, but I think he is trying to better himself, at least in a few different ways. He's not perfect, but I think I've seen a little bit of progression in him. He's taking his music a little bit more seriously, it feels like. And I think, like Akeem said, I didn't see that video, but if he was serious about, I know he did get his GED while he was in prison, and he got his high school equivalent. So if he's
also too, oh my bad, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, yeah, if he's serious about going to college, that shows, that's
he's on the right track.
He's on the right track. Yeah, he wouldn't have said that like when Lil Big Pac came out. I don't think he was a different cat back then.
Mm-hmm. He in his response, I don't know if y'all saw that Ebo interview that he had when Ebo was kind of pressuring him to answer questions that he couldn't. His response.
I wanted to talk about that, but that was during like the holidays, and we didn't have a.
Yeah, we ain't had the podcast.
Yeah, so I kind of forgot. Dang it.
His response though was way more mature. First of all, I think his response was more mature than I would have responded to it, to be honest, because like. He was just like, yeah, if you don't switch the subject, I'm leaving. And he was like, Ebo flipped out on him. He was like, all right, I'm just gonna leave. And like that shit for Kodak Black to do that, I don't know, it was honorable. There was something honorable in it.
So yeah, remind me what happened there. I don't think I saw that interview.
Yeah, so Ebo, I mean, I ain't want to bring it up either, but Ebo was kind of like talking about Kodak, his like a assault case or whatever. He was talking about some like open case. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, I know we don't talk about that, condone it. I know you can't speak on it, but can you speak on it, basically? And Kodak took a pause, and he was like, you know what? I know the media likes entertaining shit, so if you don't switch the subject, I gotta leave. And then Ebo was like, well, you can leave right now. You ain't gonna tell me what to talk about on my show. And Kodak Black just he got up, pushed his chair in, and walked the fuck out. So like, there's something honorable in it.
Yeah, and. and this dude Pee Wee Longway, yeah.
Oh yeah, Pee Wee
This is
Longway.
him, right? He had this interview with Vlad,
I
and
saw that.
he would not say anything, and that alone made me go check out Pee Wee Longway. He would not say anything. Vlad was asking him this and that. All he was doing was, no, no, he didn't say more than he had to. He kept it simple, and I was like, that's a smart dude right there, because when it's time, they're gonna go back to that interview to use as a prosecution evidence, but he didn't allow that to happen, and that's a smart dude right there. Based on that alone,
You know what?
I feel like a lot of these rappers should be doing that, because Ebro's excuse was like, "Oh, he's trying to hold him responsible for this and that." When in the same building, Charlemagne works there, and we've heard like history of like Charlemagne abusing, like his wife or girlfriend or whatever. How come Ebro doesn't hold him responsible? But he wants to do stupid shit like that on his radio show. Like,
That's a good.
Out of here.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, kind of Ebro being like hypocritical, but it's his job to kind of like poke and prod into things just for entertainment value. I think that Kodak did the right thing, and if you remember, he did that Breakfast Club interview where he had the ski mask on his face.
Yeah,
he didn't say anything. Like, I get like a lot of people clowned him for that, but like maybe
that's a meme on Twitter.
maybe it was smart. Maybe he like really like didn't have the right thing to say for the question or whatever. I don't remember what they were even talking about, but like the way, and then that Pee Wee Longway interview, like I think the tag on the video was like he expertly dodges Vlad's questions or something like that.
Yeah, because that's what you should do.
Yeah,
that's
like
what Pee Wee did. Yeah,
I think that was cool. And I saw another Vlad interview recently. It was with the Warren Sapp, the NFL Hall of Famer, he used to play for the Buccaneers. And he too, like whenever they asked him questions about things that were in his past or whatever, or things he couldn't even talk on, whether it was like his teammates or whatever, he just like didn't budge. He's just like, no. And it was pretty cool to see that. I think some guys could probably learn from that.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah, for sure. And then the last point I wanted to make is I know y'all saw Meek Mill when he got up on the news. He was so well articulate in what he was describing. Didn't fly off the handle. Didn't use no profanity. He sounded like he went to college. You know what I'm saying? And like,
y'all remember when Two Chainz was on a news thing too, like a few years ago.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, because yeah. So when these rappers are ready to do it, they really do. So. Yeah,
I love that's the one thing I love about hip hop, and the one thing I'm seeing more of is like some of these guys, we can clown them for being however they are when they come out when they're like 16 years old, but like seeing the growth in these guys, I feel like some of the next people to actually grow, and I know a lot of people will like look at me crazy, but I think Lil Pump is gonna grow into something pretty spectacular, mainly because of his encounter with J. Cole. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And see, J. Cole, that's a really good example of how, like, older generation is supposed to reach out to a newer generation. He reached out to him and said, let's talk. And they just talked, you know what I'm saying? You could tell that they were radically different in everything they do, but they were able to sit down and have a conversation, and now they got respect for each other.
That was a super interesting interview, and yeah, I had the end of the world respect for J. Cole, because he is that big brother that we want a lot of those OGs to be to a lot of these guys, and they won't. They just refuse, or they think that's not their job. But I think it kind of is, like, because you see the benefit of that. Like, it's two people helping each other and learning from each other.
And I don't think it's a coincidence either that, don't get me wrong, Meek Mill has a mind of his own. I think he made up a lot of this shit on his own, but I don't think it's a coincidence that Jay-Z 444 came out before Champions. I feel like he's able to see, like, you could be a rapper and not be corny and still kind of like switch it around to better the community. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Also, like, more credit to J. Cole, because like his album, I feel like the subject matter of KOD was so important this year. With extension and
come on with that disrespect, man. It's XXX Tentacion, man.
And with what happened with him and who little people, you know. So, and with what J. Cole has been doing, because you know he sounds like he knows what he's doing. You know, I have some other thoughts about J. Cole, but we're praising him now, so I won't go into all of that. But you know, I think no, I'm for real. I have some other thoughts about J. Cole, but you know,
that's a whole nother day, man.
yeah, you know me, ever the critic, but you know, I won't get into that. But yeah, so I feel like his album was really important for 2018, given all the shit that happened.
I think it was super relevant for the year.
Yeah, so you know, shout out to J. Cole for doing that. So
yeah, I agree, and I think that was one of my favorite albums of the year. But it's got to be Pusha T though. That Daytona.
Damn right it is. Yuck.
Hey, Akeem, I gotta admit, man, I think I'm a full fan of that ASAP Rocky Testing now. When it first came out,
I told you niggas though. I told you.
Yeah, you had to give it.
I didn't like it.
No, I didn't either. You had to give it like 2-3 listens.
Man,
I told you.
He low key spitting. He low key got buzz on there, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Same with Astro World. That took 2-3
listens.
He didn't even try.
Effortless, man. He can do that shit in his sleep.
He needs to drop more often then.
I still wish that it would have been like a damn level amount of promotion, and like I wish the community would have accepted it more. But like it's grown on me, man. I love that shit, man.
I'm glad you like it.
All right, so let's see. We've talked about kind of progression in artists. We've talked a little bit about the gap between old and new, because that's kind of trending. So I guess we'll jump in to mine so we don't go too crazy long. But basically my topic, and Kaylee thought of it, so shout out to Kaylee. She's sitting over here.
Shout out to Kaylee.
She's over here, so she thought of this, and I think it's a good topic.
Hi, Kaylee. Thanks for adding me on Facebook.
Hey, Akeem says thanks for adding him on Facebook. She said I got you. All right. So she thought, since it's the new year, why don't we talk about our projections for 2019? And it's a couple bullet points to go off of that. I want to know what you guys think about artists that are on the clock, like you think they got to be dropping this year, or you're going to be fed up with it, or artists that you think are going to fall off, or artists that need to maintain. I can already think of a few, or artists that are posed for a big year.
Okay. I really hate to say this. Go ahead.
No, Anthony, you go.
I really hate to say this. I don't got no problem with this guy, but it's so unorthodox as of right now that I don't like it. But the way he's blowing up, even though I'm on the West Coast, it's crazy. And it's this guy, Blueface.
Yeah, Blueface. I knew you were going to say that.
Blueface is going to have great here. Why are you laughing, bro?
I agree. No, I know why he's laughing, but I agree with you.
You know what's crazy? I just woke up one day, went on Twitter, and everyone was talking about Blueface.
He's so popular.
Blueface.
He's blowing up. Like, respect it. Like, he's got a squeaky voice and he raps off beat, but dude's going to be huge.
I think he's going to be if he accepts the freshman list, I think he's going to be like the main freshman.
Oh, definitely.
And I think like his year projecting, I think he'll drop something, and I think for us he'll be underappreciated, but I think he's gonna have a big year, you know. So
does he remind you guys at all of E40? His flow, it's offbeat like that. I think he does.
I don't know. I wouldn't quite say that. Like, you know. Fun fact.
Does he go? If it doesn't go, then no, it doesn't remind me of E40.
He's got that kind of off-piece flow, though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know how E40 got that flow. I feel like that Blueface kind of has a 2018, 2019 version of that. I know what you're saying.
Okay, I see.
But other than that, man, I think. Who else, man?
What about, do you think Cardi B is going to hold it down for another year?
All right, hold up. Let me. I got to bounce soon. I should have been gone, but the topic is too good.
All right, you go ahead.
All right, so since you mentioned Cardi B, I'm gonna give Cardi B props for Invasion of Privacy. The album, after my initial listen, I can't stand her voice, her flow. I don't know. Well, I went back to it and I found some positives. She's happy and she's enjoying life. Which is essentially what the album is about. So that was good in that part. So she's breaking records, some charts records. I don't be paying attention to that shit, but I read something about how she's the first female to do this, do that. So props to her. And what I'm concerned with her about is a lot of most of the half of last year people were talking about her personal life, not necessarily in music. So when you hear about Cardi B, it's not because of any song or any verse. It's because some other shit that I don't care about. So I see the headline and I just go away, because if it's not about music, then I really don't care. So I think she needs to be, she shouldn't let that shit derail her career, because she's very popular and people like her. So, and she can only make bank off of that if she stays focused. She's a millionaire, so and I'm not. So of course she knows what she's doing, but still, this type of things happen. She had a huge year last year, and I'm hoping she can continue with it. But the person I'm excited to drop in 2019, Schoolboy Q.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the last time we got an album from him was 16, Blank Face, which was probably I think it was in my top 3 from 2016, Blank Face, because it was just a really fucking good album.
It was really good. I don't think it was better than Oxymoron though.
Oh, you don't think so? I think it was better than Oxymoron. Actually, I don't know. That's another conversation.
Okay.
But yeah, so I want Q to drop, and I want to see something from Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, I heard he is dropping something this year.
Yeah, I want to see Kendrick Lamar. I want to hear Isaiah Rashad too. Pretty much the whole fucking TDE roster.
What about Absol? Where's he been?
Check it out. Go ahead.
Yeah, Absol hasn't dropped since 2016 too. So I'm excited for those.
You know who I'm excited for?
Who?
You guys know, y'all heard of JID, right?
Yeah.
Yes. The Captain too.
I think he's gonna be really influential. You know what I'm saying? He was a freshman last year, worked out for him. Everybody knows his lyrical capacity now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And he recently challenged TDE. He proposed a Dreamville TDE sort of battle rap sort of a deal. And I don't know, man. I think he's talented as hell.
Oh yeah. Yes. Speaking of which, someone that posted that Dreamville had a better roster than TDE was on Facebook. I was gonna comment on it, but I knew once I got started, I wouldn't be able to stop, and I had other things to do.
I know who that. Yeah, I won't say no names, but I know who that was.
I don't want to say the person's name either, because I don't know how they'll feel. How they feel about it.
I saw that though.
Yeah, and I was seeing the comments, and I was just like, I wanted to say something so bad, but I knew I knew if I say one thing, and someone's gonna reply to me, because to them my opinion will be wild, and they'll feel compelled to say something, and then it would just keep going, and I was really busy. So I just want to go ahead and say I think TDE is better than Dreamville.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah.
I mean, hell yeah. I agree with you.
It's not even close.
Because
if it's a sports team, if we're talking about sports team, I feel like they added a really good person to the roster at Dreamville. But damn, TDE is much better than me.
Here's how I see it. If it's basketball, they're Golden State, and Dreamville's like the Timberwolves. They're like that's just a well-oiled machine for the last 8 years.
Yeah, because TDE is fucking amazing, man. I think the reason that person is sided with Dreamville is because the lead artist J. Cole. I think the person really likes.
And the reason I say that the Dreamville's like the Timberwolves is because you got J. Cole, who's he's the leader. He's Karl Anthony Towns, whatever. You got your Derrick Rose. You got a couple nice pieces, but you're young and you're really gonna take over the entire game like TDE did.
Yeah, and like to be honest, the other artists on Dreamville, they're just okay to me because there's really nothing that stands out about them. Like they don't do anything necessarily innovative. Their music isn't memorable to me at least. But
Right, take out Kendrick and J. Cole, the bosses, right? So you got like who's better between like J Rock and Boss? Like
that's what I'm saying. Like even like if you take out J. Cole and Kendrick, you still have Schoolboy Q. You have Isaiah
and
Rashad.
SZA.
Yeah, like nah.
You're right. You're actually right about a lot of that.
Yeah, it's actually not even close because like if you think about it, when's the last time you heard like a blank face from a Dreamville artist?
Or yeah, let me ask this: like, when's the last time you listened to anyone on Dreamville's whole project except J. Cole?
Right, like this dude, Cousin Effect, whatever. I hated that album because it sounded exactly like the previous album before. Like he didn't even make any strides to get better. Nothing. It was just pretty much the same thing, but because he's because it's lyrical, whatever.
And you can make that argument that like, oh, like you can compare that to Absol, like his albums like didn't perform, blah blah blah. But it's like you still got J Rock, you still got SZA,
you still got Schoolboy Q. Like, oh, that's all you really need to say. Like, this is a roster that has Kendrick and Schoolboy Q.
A lot of people forget that Schoolboy Q, if he wants to, he could get real lyrical on you, like real lyrical. So like,
I think Schoolboy Q is lyrical. There's this song, "Shut You Down," off of Isaiah Rashad Sylvia demo. See, that's another like damn near classic that TDE gave us, Sylvia demo. And Schoolboy Q just went off. There's no other artist on Dreamville that will go hard like that.
Yeah, to be honest, for me, Dreamville is only JID and J. Cole. Like, that's it.
Oh well. All right, we just went completely off topic.
Yeah, well, it fits in because I think those two labels are poised to have a big year. I think they're both going to have a lot of content. And I mean, no disrespect, we were kind of harsh on Dreamville. Like, they have lyrical dudes. They're just not, on that level with TDE.
Man, shout out to J. Cole, shout out to JID, and shout out to everybody over there. It's just,
TDE, hey, I hope this person watches this, listens to this podcast.
Hey, speak for that. I'm gonna start putting these on Facebook soon. So
yeah.
All right.
That way, he'll see it. You know what I'm saying? Depending on who you're talking about, if you share it, he'll see it. So.
The thing is, though, like it was cool to just throw that out there because there was a lot of good conversation in the comments, which was fun.
Yeah, but I couldn't. I wanted to get into it, but I knew once I I have a problem, guys. I need
hip hop addict.
I need like intervention. So I was just looking at it like, oh, this was me when I was looking at the comments like, just wanted my head to explode, but.
Yeah, I didn't comment on it. I read some other comments just because I was curious. But yeah, it would have been a whole can of worms.
Yeah, I just let it go. But guys, I'm sorry. I have to go. I think I've exhausted my time. I have to go. Where's Anthony? Where did Anthony go? Call him back. Your microphone is on.
Oh, sorry, my mic was muted.
All right, I'm gonna catch you guys later. I have to go, so peace out. Shout out to Kaylee.
All right, yep, I'll tell. Yeah, we'll see you soon, man.
All right,
All right, peace out. Have fun.
Yeah.
Wear a condom.
I mean, he didn't say yes or no, so I'm worried a little bit.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah, we love him. But yeah, we're gonna do probably Mondays still. Unless you know what though, we'll probably shoot these Monday, but whenever you post them is whenever. Like I'm sure people will watch them in their free time.
Exactly. It's usually it's gonna flip flop for me because my work schedule is never consistent.
You know what? That's true, and we can get into that later after we wrap it up. But yeah, I think if we have to change the day, I think that's fine.
No doubt.
Okay. Anyways, so yeah, kind of wrapping up the topic of 2019. Yeah, I guess I didn't really answer it yet. we were talking about guys or gals that should drop, who might not be. I mean, the Cardi B conversation is interesting because you can flip it and look at like how's Nicki Minaj going to do this year, because they were very related last year. I don't know. I think it's going to be tough for Nicki this year. What do you think about that?
And speaking of bridging the gap, you know, we talk about people who like Jay-Z, Meek Mill, and how their relationship kind of like, I feel like, bounced off of each other's. It's kind of sad to see Nicki Minaj take a little Kim role in this Nicki Minaj and Cardi B beef. So yeah, but that's just beside the point though. I wish Nicki well. She still drops amazing music, but you know, I think Cardi B is also gonna go hard. So
probably who's gonna have the toughest year is Tekashi 6ix9ine, because he's not gonna be around.
oh my man, Tekashi, man, because he had a great year. We you know, I could talk about how much I don't respect the way he talked about Chicago. People out in LA don't like him, but he had a great year. And like, it's sad to really see that he's not going to enjoy any of 2019. It's sad to know that X is not going to be involved in this year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, it is. It's sad because those guys, you know, both those guys you mentioned had a lot of potential, and one of them's dead and one of them's in jail. And, you know, that's not what you want to see any young artist, you know, that be the end result, especially after 1 year when they put out so much music and broke records and everything. They both had like Spotify streaming records and everything. I don't know. It's something that I hope we don't see as a trend in 2019. Hopefully not, especially because of the drug use. Like when we talked about the KOD album, I think that was so necessary. At least that message got out there. So I think that's why J. Cole's album was so important this year, or this past year, I should say. But like, yeah, I don't know. Like it's going to be really interesting. You see a lot of young artists like Juice WRLD. You know, he talks about drugs heavy and stuff like that, and there, you know, everyone in Lil Peep's scene still talks about, you know, different kind of drugs and things like that. So it's going to be a weird year to see what the content is like. You know, you're going to get your typical, you know, just straight bars and talking about real stories when you have TDE artists, Dreamville artists, things like that. But like, in terms of like some of those guys on like Quality Control or you know, like what's that label that Atlantic, yeah, like they got so many artists too, like Kodak and all those guys. I don't know, it'll be interesting to see what the youth what the content's going to be like. I do think the freshman cover is going to be interesting. That'll be out probably in the next 5 to 6 months. That's usually early summer. But yeah, I think Blueface, because he's so popular right now, and a lot of people like make fun of him because of his style and stuff, but he's super huge right now, and I think he'll be a freshman. I think he's gonna have a big.
Juice WRLD, I think he'll be a freshman.
Juice WRLD will definitely be a freshman. I can see him having a really big year because some of his songs have really blown up. Yeah, some other new artists. There's a few other young ones. Who's that kid? Lil Mosey. He might have a big year. He's been dropping some music. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's a potential for a lot of artists to come up this year. I just hope that they aren't as reckless as this last class was, because we saw what happened.
Yeah, for sure, man. These freshman classes are very interesting, but like I feel like for the most part they've sort of did a pretty decent job of staying sort of consistent. But you know, like shout out to Juice WRLD. He's from Chicago. Chicago needs a good look after all of the shit with the Bears and with R. Kelly and all of that shit.
I was just gonna say that. Did you see the R. Kelly series? Because Kaylee and I watched a lot of it. It was crazy. Did you see that?
It's disturbing. I didn't see it, but like, you know, it's disturbing as hell. The saddest thing about it for me is that he's from Chicago.
And I know you know, I think both of us grew up big R. Kelly fans, and
yeah, I couldn't avoid R. Kelly.
No, yeah, and you were in Chicago, and he was obviously huge there. So like, it's just crazy. Like at this point, though, you got to admit, like, I think it's pretty silly how some people are still defending him after that series came out, because it's pretty bad.
Nah, like for sure. Like I said, the saddest part is that he's from Chicago, and it's just such a bad look. But like until further notice, I can't support it because it's disgusting, you know. So
It is. It's too bad because I remember
and
me.
he's not even shying away from it necessarily, you know.
No, he's not. It's said in the documentary at the beginning of every episode, he denies these claims. But you know, the way that the victims told their stories, it's so obvious. Everyone knows the truth. So like, it's too bad. That's why like a young kid like Juice World could really and you know, represent Chicago the right way, just like Chance the Rapper does. I think that you know, he's a good look for Chicago. But you know, as far as R. Kelly goes, I know me and you had this conversation when I think it was just us two. We were talking about King of R&B a couple of weeks back, and we both said, you know, objectively, because we grew up fans of R. Kelly, we're like R. Kelly. But now, until further notice, yeah, R. Kelly is totally canceled.
He has to be like he has to be totally canceled. I don't want to, but he has to be, you
He
know.
has
So
to be. Yeah, you couldn't be a decent person and keep supporting him.
yeah, man. And then the bad looks on, you know, how people are viewing Kanye. Uh, the fact that the Bears just had a terrible loss. I'm not even a sports fan. It's just Chicago is taking so many L's right now. So like,
They really did like that kind of the image of that football hitting that upright. That was just like, oh man, that was just hard. I feel like
man.
that's what the city's going through right now.
Well, man, shout out to Juice World, man. It's all on your shoulders, man. 2019 got to be your year, you know.
It's all on the shoulders of a 20-year-old kid.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Chance. Honorable mention to Chance. But
and
I think he already did his part, you know.
and you too. You can represent.
I can, but like shit, I'm not even like from Chicago. Like I'm from Chicago, but I'm here and I've been in Minnesota. Like
But
so,
you're West Coast based now.
yeah, yeah. I'm a West Coast guy, but you know I still rep for Chicago.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I think it's going to be a good year. I have at least a positive outlook for it. I don't know what's going to come, but here's one last question, I guess, and then we'll get out of here. But like, it'll be interesting to see what OGs are going to drop this year, because at the end of the year we got albums from Ice Cube and Method Man, and I listened to both of those, and I thought it was just cool that they're still putting out full projects.
What I liked about Ice Cube's album, good for bringing it up. It's the new Funkadelic, right? Is that what it's called or something?
It's that was the first single. The album's called Everything's Corrupt. But I listened to the whole thing, and yeah, I really liked it. Ice Cube still got it, and he doesn't need to be putting out albums, but he's still got it, and I think it's
He
cool that he
doesn't.
does.
Yeah, and I like the fact that he's so him and so unique. You know what I'm saying? Like he don't gotta necessarily adjust to the trend to be Ice Cube. You know, it's real honorable and like you know I like it. I like it. I didn't. I think I listened to like 2 or 3 songs from Method. I just think that it's cool that he's still putting out music. But you know, for sure, man, for sure.
Yeah, the Method Man one, I didn't enjoy it personally that much. I just thought it was cool because it was Method Man. Obviously, his older stuff's better, but I just thought it was cool that he put out a full project. Just because you know I'm a fan of his. It wasn't the best work of all time, but as a fan, I was happy to hear it. Some other guys like Black thought he dropped an album and he stayed totally himself. It was just like 9 tracks with straight bars. Like he didn't try to change it up or do, you know, Migos flow or anything. He was just like, nope, here's my album. Y'all know who I am, and it was good.
That's what's up, man. For sure, for sure.
All right. I guess we can wrap it up and move on to next week. But yeah, any last thoughts on any of the topics we talked about today? I guess.
Well, yeah, for sure. Like I said, you know, Bone Thugs and Harmony, I grew up on them. Oh, and I also wanted to mention, like, the only reason Lazy Bone and they even end up speaking about the Migos was because the Migos said that they were the best group to ever do it, and Lazy Bone took offense to that. So I don't know, like it just got to be a better reason to come at the new school. Like I understand the new school can sometimes come off as very disrespectful, but when the new school are just praising themselves, I feel like there's no reason to get mad. So that's my final thought on that. Lazy, you kind of owe them an apology. Uh, if you want to continue making whack diss songs toward them, you can. But it is what it is. Busy Bone, he was way too drunk for having that gun video. Shout out to the Migos and 21 Savage for responding the way they did. On the progression topics, shout out to everybody who is progressing, man. I think that's super dope that artists nowadays can show growth, and I think it's necessary. You know, let the kids know that it's okay to grow. And then on your topic, man, Blueface shout out, Juice World shout out, um, and JID shout out. So
Those are three good names that I think are gonna have big years. And yeah, to the guys and gals that we mentioned that we saw personal growth with Akeen's topic. I thought that was really cool. If you haven't listened to 21 Savage's album, I really liked it, so check that out. Kodak's album was good. You can hear progression in his music, not even just talking about them as people, but like I thought his production sounded a lot tighter on this studio album. His first one was like pretty average, but like I think it sounded tighter on his latest album. And then yeah, in terms of like the gap and the old school going at the new school, yeah, I think you kind of summed it up. Like, have a better reason to do it. I feel like Lazy Bone was just being maybe fighting to stay relevant a little bit, or maybe trying to make a comeback, whatever he was trying to do. Like, I think that like when the less established artists go at the established artists, that's just competition. That's always been in hip hop, whatever. But yeah, the old guys, like, they could just really cool out on some of it. I think like they don't need to act like people, like these kids have fans. These new rappers, they have fan bases. Like, that's not like they're just going nowhere. So it's like you might not agree with it, but it's the way it is now. So
I think a better way that he could have went about it was like making it a fun thing. You know, he could have came at him and just been like, you know, just make it a fun thing, not actually being like hurt and like feel like that he's like sincerely been disrespected by them. You know, just trying to praise themselves. You know, there's a way to do it. You know.
exactly. I think and I think the conversation between J. Cole and Lil Pump, that was cool, and I'd like to see more of that. It'd be cool to
Prime example.
You know what else is cool too is I know this is a whole nother thing I won't get into, but let's just mention it quick about the Gucci Gang thing with Gucci Mane, Smoke Perp, and Lil Pump. That's cool. That's like, it's a weird group to have one like legend mixed with two new guys. We've never really seen that. I don't know.
Gucci Mane is definitely the person to reach out to the new guys, like, cause I feel like he's confident in his influence, and on top of that, like, you know, he's trying to make a bag, you know.
You know,
Go ahead.
you know what's cool about that is, like, remember that Gucci Mane song, "All My Children"? Like, he's proud to be the influence. He's not like, oh, y'all are changing what I started.
That's my shit, man. All my children. Like he kept it real, man. Like he gave birth to a lot of these guys in a way of like sheer influence and like creating that trap sound that's so popular now. You know, so you got to give it to him. And like even bragging about it in a specific song, his influence. People know him if they know him, and like he's really pretty much all I gotta say, man.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's cool that he takes it as like a compliment to be the influence, and he's just totally okay with it. That's cool. But anyways, that's kind of what I had to say. So I guess we'll come back next week. Hopefully we can get Akeen for the whole thing, and yeah, we can wrap it up. So we'll see you guys next week.
All right, peace.